Hi, let's continue talking about the contextual and content analysis about the primary sources. So the part 2 of this continuation, the contents of it are the works of Luna and Amorsolo. Second, the Act of Declaration of Philippine Independence, documented by Ambrosio. And lastly, Mga Gunita ng Himagsikan by Emilio Aguinaldo. So let's dive in and learn about their context and content.
The works of Luna and Amorsolo. Juan Luna de San Pedro y Novicio Ancheta was a Filipino painter, sculptor, political art activist of the Philippine Revolution, a maestro, and a hero. Juan Luna is best known for his impressive, artistic renditions of classical subjects in his works. While rooted in classical themes, these works also serve as a powerful medium for depicting social inequalities, a testament to his commitment to social issues. One of the most famous paintings of Juan Luna is the Spolarium. The Spolarium refers to the basement of the Roman Colosseum where fallen and dying gladiators are dumped and stripped of their worldly possessions. Another of Luna's works is the Parisian Life, also known as Interior d'un Café, or Inside the Cafe, during the Parisian period. The artwork captures the last gathering of outstanding Filipinos on the eve of momentous events. The Parisian Life encapsulates the intangible ideas of the Filipino national consciousness. In the painting, a woman is depicted inside a cafe. This woman is intended to symbolize fallen womanhood and is thought to resemble a map of a country when closely observed. Her arms are said to represent Palawan. Despite wearing pink and white to symbolize the country's purity, her suggestive seated position is thought to represent the abuse suffered at the hands of its colonizers. The black turtleneck she is wearing, which some interpret as a rope being pulled up, may symbolize her hanging, and according to experts, it signifies the lack of freedom experienced by the country in the past.
Hello and good morning. My name is Crescent Consina and I will be reporting on the life of Fernando Amorsolo. Now, who is Fernando Amorsolo? Well, he was born on May the 30th, 1892. Lived at Metro Manila, then their family moved at Daet Camarines Sur, Norte. Died on the April 24th, 1972, and was buried at the Loyola Park in Marikina. His father was Pedro Amorsolo, and his mother's name was Bonifacia Cueto. It is said that at the age of 11, he was taught by his parents to read and write in Spanish, at home while he was studying in Daet Camarines Sur, because his father worked there when he was born. Now, he first enrolled at the art school of the Liceo de Manila. After graduating from Liceo, he then entered the University of the Philippines, or UP, and took School of Fine Arts. He was well known for being an amazing painter, but before he became an amazing painter, he first worked as a draftsman for the Bureau of Public Works as a chief artist at the Public Pacific Commercial Company, or PCC, and as a part-time instructor at the University of the Philippines, which he taught for 38 years. For his finest works, one of them was rice planting. He painted this in 1992, and this said to have appeared on posters and tourist brochures. He was not just known for paintings, but he is also known for illuminated landscapes, which often portrayed traditional Filipino customs, culture, fiestas, and occupations. One of the best samples of his work was a sketch of a woman, then gave distinctive features like lively eyes, rounded face, a blunt nose, and with clear skin, not necessarily white nor dark brown.
Mga gunita ng himagsikan. Background of the author. His full name is Emilio Aguinaldo E. Pami, War General, Politics, Leader of Himagsikan, and the first President of the Philippines. He is the seventh child and his 8 siblings. His nickname was Miyong. He born on March 22, 1869 from Kawit, Cavite and died on February 6, 1964 due to heart attack. He studied in San Juan de Letran in Manila and stopped to help her mother to run their family farm. He had 2 wives, who are Hilaria Aguinaldo and Maria Agoncillo. He had 5 children on Hilaria Aguinaldo. He became a barter leader in Manila. He joined the Pilar Lodge chapter of Freemasonry in 1895. In December 1897, he signed an agreement pact named Biak na Bato with the Governor-General of Spain. He ran for presidency in 1935 against Manuel Quezon, but he lost. He became state advisor in 1950.
Aguinaldo wrote in his own handwriting in Tagalog the Mga Gunita ng Himagsikan. He wrote this between 1928 and 1946. He produced the first volume of his memoirs, Mga Gunita ng Himagsikan, translated from the original Tagalog as Memoirs of the Revolution. Aguinaldo stated that this event took place in Balintawak, but the late historian Teodoro A. Agoncillo took the word of Pio Valenzuela and argued for Pugadlawin. Aside from these 2, the other contenders are Kangkong, Bahay Toro, Pasong Tamo, Pakpaklawin, and if we are to believe in comics, Pugad Baboy. It was in the form of the diaries he kept and protected, documents and family lores gathered from his elders. It also shows the struggles of the Filipinos against the Spaniards to achieve our freedom, and gives us insights into Aguinaldo's personal thoughts and feelings, which will help in a deeper understanding of the Philippines. Defeat of the Brigada Aguirre. Aguinaldo rushed to Imus after hearing that the city was at risk of being captured. Upon arriving, he quickly devised a plan. He ordered his troops to stay quiet and keep a low profile, even as the enemy continued their attack. This strategy paid off greatly, with them catching the opponent off guard and leading to significant enemy losses. Unfortunately, General Aguirre managed to escape, dropping his sable de mando, or his commanding sword. Aguinaldo and his men secured and was victorious. The people of Imus celebrated, chanting Mabuhay ang Tagalog. Aguinaldo suggested setting up a punong bayan to help with management in Imus, with G. Jose Tagle being appointed. With everyone happy, Aguinaldo returned to Cavite El Viejo, where he was warmly welcomed by the townspeople.
Good day everyone, my name is Simon Victor Dame, and we are going to discuss to you about the last topic for today's session, which is the Act of Declaration of Philippine Independence. First, let's talk about the author's life. Ambrosio Rianzares Bautista was born in Binyan, Laguna, the son of Gregorio Enriquez and Bautista Silvestre Altamira. He is a distant relative of the Rizal family. He is popularly known as Don Bosyong. He was a lawyer who studied at University of Santo Tomas and author of the Declaration of Philippine Independence. He then practiced law in Manila and offered free legal services for poor clients. He is one of the officers of Liga Filipina and wrote articles for La Independencia. He became a member of the La Liga Filipina, Cuerpo de Compromisers and La Propaganda. In 1896, the Spaniards arrested and imprisoned him at Fort Santiago as he was suspected of being involved in the Philippine Revolution. Bautista was elected to defend himself and was later released from prison. Bautista became the first advisor of Emilio Aguinaldo and was appointed Auditor General de Guerra. He subsequently wrote the Declaration of Philippine Independence. On July 14, 1899, Bautista was elected to the position of President in Tarlac's Revolutionary Congress and was later appointed to judge of the Court of First Instance of Pangasinan.
The Act of Declaration of Philippine Independence by Ambrosio Rianzares Bautista. On June 12, 1898, is a significant historical event for the Filipino citizens because this is the time they claimed their freedom from Spanish colonization. The document was by 98 delegates. 96 of them were Filipinos and the other 2 were United States Army officers. One of them is USA Mr. L.M. Johnson, Colonel of Artillery. The Declaration of Independence is the document in which Filipino revolutionary forces under General Emilio Aguinaldo proclaimed the sovereignty and independence of Philippine Island in Spain.
The Filipinos decided that they will no longer fall under the reign of the foreigners. The Declaration of Independence was battle cry for the Filipinos to fight for their motherland. The declaration was a short 2,000-word document that was summarized by the following reasons: the revolution against Spain, the War of Independence, and the future of the new republic under Emilio Aguinaldo. It was created in May to June 1898. It was presented on June 12, 1898 in the town of Cavite El Viejo, province of Cavite, commissioned by Emilio Aguinaldo. It was the first ratified in Bacoor, Cavite on August 1, 1898, officially ratified by the Malolos Congress on September 29, 1898. It is to proclaim the sovereignty and independence of the Philippines from the rule of the Spanish Empire. For over 3 centuries, 333 years to be exact, the Spanish rule in the Philippines was characterized by economic exploitation, social inequalities, and political repressions. The Spanish colonial administrations, led by both local and distant authorities, imposed by heavy taxes, monopolized trade, and maintained control through a combination of military power and religious influence. Filipino discontent grew because of the frequent abuses by Spanish officials and civil guards. Arbitrary arrests, unjust executions, and harsh punishments were commonplace, contributing to widespread resentment.
That is all for our presentation. Again, we are Group 1. I am Lena Ignacio, and my group members are Gab de Guzman, Jared Bernadas, Prince Liquido, Berwin J. Doctor, Julian Billiflor, Niall Carinero, Simon Adame, and Christian Consina. At the end of our presentation, we are able to discuss the works of Juan Luna, the Spolarium and Parisian Life, the works of Amor Solo, the Rice Planting, and Sketch of a Woman, the Act of Declaration of Philippine Independence, wherein the details focused on the Philippines' freedom from Spain. And lastly, mga gunita ng himagsikan. Thank you all for listening.